Picture this. You're a child in, 1993. It's Christmas time and you told your mom you wanted an RPG for your Super Nintendo. As you tear into the wrapping paper, your mind is racing as to what game it could be. Final Fantasy IV? A Link to the Past? You'd take Illusion of Gaia even. As the slivers of paper covering the title are removed, you're greeted with a box proudly displaying the name 7th Saga on its cover. It's developed by Enix, a company that would later be the second half to, the RPG company. You're confused, you haven't really heard of this game before, but it's all you have now and you might as well make the most of it, right? 7th Saga is going to be vastly different depending on whether you view it through the lens of someone who was living in 1993 versus someone who's living now. In 1993, this game had unique concepts and ideas to set it apart enough from the other big name RPGs at the time. Retrospectively, this game is rough. As far as the story goes, it's fairly simple. You are one of 7 individuals raised by King Lemuel, trained for 5 years at his castle and then sent out into the world to search for the 7 magical runes. Whoever finds all 7 runes will become Lemuel's heir, although each character has their own personal motivation for finding the runes as well. Lemuel gives everyone a crystal ball to aid in the search of their runes, which is actually represented while the player is out in the field, showing where enemies are coming from. That's right, no random battles. Technically. You can actually dodge enemies in real time, although they're likely to eventually catch up to you or corner you in the end. Still, there are times when you can squeak away from a dungeon avoiding a potential deadly fight with this system, so the gimmick does work. It could just be improved upon in my opinion, such as the enemies moving a little slower or having a little more variation to their movement patterns. The main aspect of the game that sets it apart from other titles at the time is that individual playthroughs of the game will be entirely different depending on what character you choose at the start of the game, as well as how you interact with the other 6 characters that you didn't pick. Different playthroughs can give vastly different results, and for the time especially, that's super cool to see. Of the 7 characters the player can choose from, you have Kamil, a human who is the most balanced of the group, Dowonna, who leans more into strength and less into magic than Kamil, Wilmay and Lux, who are both tanks in the most traditional sense, Valsu and Esuna, who learn offensive and defensive magic, and Leyes, who acts as a traditional black mage and learns a ton of powerful spells, but no healing spells. So, I picked the demon because he looks pretty cool, take a page out of Akira Toriyama's demon naming scheme, and venture out into the world. Oh, that guy hit pretty hard. One thing you'll hear from anyone who's played this game, me included, is that this game is fucking hard. You'll take 2 steps out of the starting town, get hit by a bird, and wake back up in the local inn faster than you can say,
"Hey, you're finally awake."
Levels are king in this game. The difference between a level 1 and a level 3 character is actually insane. Those same birds that were causing 80% of people who pick up this game to immediately return it to the store, you remember those? Yeah, they hit for like 1 HP now. So, it's no problem, right? I'll just grind up a little, then I should be ready to take on whatever the game has to offer. This dungeon near the starting town has been fairly easy so far. The enemies occasionally give me some trouble, but nothing crazy. I'll just give the boss a quick try. Oh. Huh. It doesn't take long for most people to figure out exactly how grind heavy this game is. If you don't want to spend an hour or 2 just chipping away at enemies for a few levels, this might not be the game for you. I'm an RPG junkie, but even for me, this feels a little tedious. Your fellow adventurers who you can run into on your travels, and sometimes end up having to fight for one reason or another, will also always be stronger than you thanks to the American localization decreasing the player's stat gain per level, but not doing the same for the other 6 characters. And if you're like me, and you pick the demon, None of the other characters like you, and refuse to join your party, meaning you're forced to not only go solo, but fight most of them too, and Mr. Piano here is not suited for fighting people like the dwarf, who will kill you over and over and over. Even if this game is a pain in the ass, we have to give respect to that music. I mean, just listen to this boss theme. It has such an epic and confrontational feeling to it. If you're going to give this game a shot, pick Kamil, the human. Even though he doesn't really excel at anything, his options make him extremely versatile, and he can also pair up with most other adventurers no problem. Picking anyone else is quite literally handicapping yourself, especially for the first portion of the game. 7th Saga is frustrating when it's at its worst, but pretty par for the course when everything decides to click for the game. Overall, I give it a thumbs up. I really think every RPG enthusiast should give it a shot at some point, and it's definitely a hidden gem from the Super Nintendo era. Thumbs down.